why don't we take this time just to introduce ourselves, and then we can talk a little bit about Chakra and see a demo as well. So I guess I could get started with my intro very quickly. My name is Rizal. I'm the host of this show. I'm a developer advocate at GitHub and very excited to learn about what everyone else has to show. Who else wants to go next? Maybe Lazar, because you're to the written. Or...
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So hi, I am I am Lazar Nikolov. I am the DevRel guy at Chakra UI. I'm here to talk to you about Chakra UI, how cool it is, because we are very cool. And yeah, Chakra UI is created by Sage. So maybe you can go ahead with the introduction, Sage.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. I mean, before I go ahead, I really want to appreciate Rizal and Pachi for having us on the show today. It's such a privilege to be here, and we don't take this for granted every time. Yeah, my name is Segun Adebayo. Nickname is Sage. I got that name from my favorite anime because I watch animes a lot. So just like put that on. And yeah, I'm the creator of Chakra UI and the creator of Zag.js as well. And I'm excited to be here. I work at Vercel as a software engineer, so that's like all of the things. And because it's a GitHub live stream for sure, I'm a GitHub star both for last year and this year. So I'm really excited for all of this. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. No, thanks for hopping on. It was really wild when Lazar reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, can we be on Open Source Friday?" I'm like, I was actually trying to figure out how can I get Chakra UI on Open Source Friday. But yeah, go ahead, Pachi.
So hi everyone, I'm Pachi. I am also developer advocate at GitHub. I joined a little under 2 months. So I'm here to learn in Brazil. The only difference that I work in Brazil because we're doing expansion here. And yeah, I'm super excited to learn with all of you.
Yeah, Pachi's doing awesome with GitHub Brazil. I'm so excited. All right. Let's dive in. Tell us a little bit more about Chakra UI and like why you need it. And then I would love to see a demo of Chakra UI as well.
Yeah, of course. So I'm gonna share my screen. Right. So Chakra UI. Top level, like if you look at the top level, Chakra UI is a React component library that gives you the building blocks you need to build your React applications, right? With built-in accessibility, so you don't really need to worry about accessibility props. And people usually, like if you open Twitter and scroll around, Chakra UI community, sometimes people compare it with Tailwind, which is wrong. Tailwind is it's like comparing apples and bananas. Tailwind is a CSS framework. It's a utility first framework, while Chakra UI is more of a lower level design system framework, like build your own design system. It does have a pretty good default theme that you can use straight out of the box, but it is super extensible. It is basically created so you can build your own design system on top of it. And my today's example is exactly that. So it will be fun, and I'm going to prove that to you guys. So yeah, ChakraUI.com is our website. How do you get started? Let's say, for example, we're using the Create React app. You can use our official template, which is the at ChakraUI. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. There we go. So you can do Create React app, name your app, and use the Chakra UI, which is JavaScript, or the Chakra UI TypeScript template, which is TypeScript. Or if you already have a project, you can manually install the Chakra UI/React package, and also the emotion and framework and framer motion packages, which are the supporting packages, the peer dependencies. After you've done that, you can hop into your code and wrap your app component with the Chakra provider, and that's it. Now you have Chakra UI installed and you are ready to use it. So I think we're ready to jump into our example.
Yeah, maybe I'd love to sort of like chime in a little bit before Lazar starts to get into the weeds of the code. Here, I think that like one of the key motivations for launching Chakra UI was mostly, I'd say somewhere between 7 to 8 years ago, I worked as a UI designer, sort of like designing products. And at that point, I was like a living testament to how fast designers can create screens using tools like Figma or Sketch. And it's like once you go up in there, you can easily draw some rectangles, put some text, and you have a mobile app or you have a website done pretty fast, right? But then at the time, I mean, it was really hard to find or sort of find like tools that match that type of experience from a development standpoint. So if it took you 2 days to come up with a UI design in Figma or Sketch, it's most likely going to take you like 2 weeks or a whole week to actually write the code for that. And usually, getting the speed of design to match the speed of code is pretty tough, right? So one of the key motivations here is like, how can we provide building blocks that solves most of the necessary requirements to build an app, right? You want to make sure that the application is themable. You want to make sure it's accessible. You want to make sure you actually can feel that you're writing code at like blazing fast speed, right? And that's the whole point behind Chakra UI. And so we put all of these different ideas from my experience building design systems, building products, packaged it into this product called Chakra UI. And quite honestly, the first version was like, I mean, pretty crude. Just wanted to put it out there to see if people love it. But I think like 2 years and almost 8 months down the line, we're still here maintaining and even building much better tools for other people.
That's amazing. I love that. And I definitely resonate with that feeling of you get that Figma design and then it takes me a whole nother like 1 to 2 weeks just to build it out with code.
All right, Lazar, let's take it.
Yeah. So the example is, I think every developer knows what this is. Since we're on a GitHub stream, then of course we're going to rebuild the GitHub repo actions section, which is basically this thing right here. So we have the branch switcher, the branches, the tags, the go-to file, the add file, and the code button. So just this piece right here. And if you look closely, you'll see that the content is there, but it doesn't really look like it, right? So we're going to build part of the GitHub design system and make our Chakra UI React app, which is this on the right-hand side here, look exactly like the GitHub section. So I mentioned that we needed to install the packages and everything. So if we go into our index.tsx file, we can see that we have the Chakra provider mounted here, and inside of it, it's the app. There's also the theme. It also accepts the theme prop, which most of the work today will be doing into that file. And yeah, after we do this, we are ready to use all of the components in Chakra UI and also all the functionalities. For example, the dark theme, which is super cool. Now, if I told you that the dark theme is a single line of code, you're not going to believe me, so I better share that with you. There is a use color mode hook that you can use from the Chakra UI/React package that will give you the toggle color mode. And on the button, just hook it up with the on-click prop, and that's it. Free dark mode.
I've been bananas. Wait, can I? Wait, can we see like inside of the color mode, like what y'all used to build it? I'm just curious. I'm just nosy. Like, can I go to the definition for a use color mode? Okay, that's where. Okay, you guys set up all the types and the interface. Okay, cool. I was nosy. Thank you.
Yeah. For example, there's also other stuff like the current color mode and the set color mode if you want to set it programmatically to something else, right? But yeah, usually it's just the toggle color mode right here, and voila, we have dark mode. Right, so I mentioned that most of the work will be done in the theme file, but we'll circle back to that later. We have the repo actions here, which is the top row. And if we open it up, we can see a lot of stuff. So Chakra UI has, for example, two types of components. There's the layout components and there's the functional components, right? So starting with the top, we have the horizontal stack or H stack, which is essentially a div with a flex display set. And since it's a horizontal stack, the direction is set to row. It also has support for some spacing, so you can define the spacing between all of these elements inside of the horizontal stack instead of manually doing margin right or margin left. But in this case, we are setting the justify content property to space between. Now, these props are actually called style props. And what they do is they get our input, the developer's input for the style props, and they convert the React props into CSS using emotion under the hood. So everything we write here, for example, the justify content is translated into the justify content property.
Yeah.
But in this case, the spacing property does something else. So it loops through all of the children of this horizontal stack and it sets the margin left property to 4, which actually transfers to 16.
Okay.
Right. So this is the value from the design system that Chakra UI has. And the values are usually, the values are always multiplied by 4. So that's a little trick. The values are multiplied by 4. So this is 16. If you wanted to set the spacing to 40 pixels, then we'll just write 10. And we can see that the spacing between the branch picker and the branches and tags changed drastically. So we're going to bring it back to 4. Then we have the button. The button supports, for example, left icon and right icon, which is the branch and the caret. Then we have the branches, which is actually a button, but the variant is set to link. The variant concept exists in multiple components into Chakra UI.
Okay.
And what the actual variants are a set of predefined styles for your components. For example, in this case, we have the link variant. If I were to change this into a ghost, we can see that the button appearance changes. And if we hover on it, there's a little subtle background.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we can set it to solid as well, which will always have that gray background.
Okay.
And yeah, basically variants are predefined sets of style props.
I like that.
Yeah. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we have a missing button, the add file. I'm not sure if you noticed that. I did that on purpose. So we are going to add the missing button. So yeah, we're just going to add a button. We'll write add file. We save this, we can see that we have the add file button appear at the top. We're going to set the right icon because we need the caret. I already imported the caret icon from the top. We'll set the box size, which sets the width and height property to 3, i.e. 12 pixels. And we can also set the margin left to -1.
Okay.
You can also use negative values in the style props as well. So this will apply a -4 or -4 pixels to the caret. So there we go. This is how we can add the add file button. So one to do down. Now, to make this look like the GitHub style, the GitHub design system, we need to open our theme.ts file. And we are hit with a bunch of to-dos. So we have a lot of work in front of us. I'm just kidding. It's very simple. And yeah, but yeah, for the sake of time, I'm going to copy paste a bunch of sections from my other screen. So I'm cheating. I'm sorry.
No.
But I'm going to explain as we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So first we need to define the tokens, right? The tokens are, each design system has design tokens, which are values that are part of the design system. They can be colors, spacing, shadows, all of these just basic values, right? So in order to achieve the GitHub design system or the GitHub look, we need the GitHub design system tokens.
Yeah.
So I'm going to copy paste a lot of hex codes, and you'll thank me for not writing them
Yeah,
right? Because yeah, you'll be like, okay, this
take it forever.
right. So I copy pasted an object called tokens.
Okay.
Inside of it, we have the colors, and the colors I have divided it into dark and light.
Okay.
The naming of the colors are the actual naming in GitHub's official design system. So we are, on par with it.
Nice.
And as you can see, yeah, for this example, we're just going to do the colors.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have the foreground muted, the accent. As you can see, there are hex codes. There are even HSLA colors or RGBA. These are just CSS colors, nothing else. Right, and we also have the colors for the shadows, basically everything that we need.
Mhm.
These tokens can come from anywhere. For example, in your app, you can hard code them like this,
Mhm.
or maybe you have a system that pulls the design tokens from Figma and wraps them into an npm package. Regardless, this is the simplest way. But yeah, they can come from anywhere. Basically, you just need them in your app.
Okay.
So the next thing that we want to define are the semantic tokens. Now, this is a Chakra UI feature. The tokens are just an object to hold the values, but the semantic tokens are implemented inside of Chakra UI, and it's a pretty new feature. So I'm going to again copy paste a little block here, and you will see. There we go. There we go. We have the semantic tokens objects, which consists of colors and also shadows in this case. Because we are implementing this in Chakra UI, we also want to implement the shadows as well. So how do we actually use the semantic tokens? We could use the colors as well, right? But that doesn't really scale. By creating semantic tokens, we are setting for example, the bg-defaults token to use the light to the light color, which is bg default, which we can actually see here, right? So for light mode it is white, and for dark mode it is this hex code value here. So this defines both for the light mode and dark mode. So when we are going to use the bg default, we're not going to say here's the hex value for light mode, here's the hex value for dark mode. We're just going to say I want my background to use the bg default semantic token. And then Chakra UI handles which the default or the dark value will be applied.
Yeah.
Right? So that is
Based on that React hook that was
exactly
or theme or something like that. Okay, cool. That makes sense.
exactly, yeah. So as you can see, out of the tokens values, I've created pretty much the same name for the same name of the tokens. We are registering them as semantic tokens, and even some shadows as well.
That's cool. Nice.
Yeah, again, default and underscore dark. So for light mode and dark mode. Then after we have done the semantic tokens, we need to define some global styles, which in our case is just changing the background to BG default. And this is the first semantic token that we defined. As you can see, we're not really setting, light mode, dark mode. We just say BG default. Chakra UI takes care of everything else. Okay, so these global styles will be applied on the body tag of our app, and that's about it for the semantic tokens and styles. If we add them, for example, let's say we are going to add the semantic tokens first, or the styles, let's say. Styles, so we can apply. There we go. Now it's a lot darker, which is GitHub's dark background. If we remove that, I'm not sure you'll notice it, but it becomes lighter.
Yeah, a little bit like bluish.
Yeah, that is Chakra UI's default dark background, but this now is GitHub's. Okay, so we are on our way. There are the styles. We also want to add semantic tokens as well. And the next thing that we want to do is change or actually override the button component. Yeah, so every component in Chakra UI can be overridden. Their base their base style and everything. So inside of the, below the styles, I'm going to copy paste this, and now we'll go through with it.
Cool.
Okay, so there is a components field inside of our theme in which all of the components are defined. So we're going to get inside of the button components and change the base style. So the border radius will be medium, which I think is a bit less in GitHub's style. The color of the text will be the foreground default. Again, we're using semantic tokens here. And now we touch on the variants, right? So the solid variant was the default one that we can see here. We're going to set the background color to the button background and set the border and the width and utilize the shadow. In this case, we also have the border style. So basically, I'm copying over how I'm basically defining how the solid button looks like in GitHub's case.
Gotcha.
Because it's really different in
Chakra UI.
Yeah, from the Chakra UI button, exactly. And we also have these pseudo props. Maybe you've seen the underscore dark. Yeah, these are called pseudo props. And in this case, for example, the underscore hover, these styles will be applied when we hover on the button.
Okay.
And these are applied when we are clicking on the button or the button is in the active state. So that was how we can override an existing variant. Below, we can see that we have a primary variant, which doesn't come as by default in Chakra UI. So this is our own variant now. So the primary variant will inherit from the base style, just like all variants do, but it will also define some other styles. So in this case, I'm using the primary background, which is that green background for the background color. I'm also changing the border color, the shadow, and also the hover and active states. And at the end of the variants, we also have the link, which is this button right here, the 11 branches and 74 tags.
Oh, yeah.
It is a button, but it looks like a link. So it's a variant of a button. Yeah. Again, nothing new here. Applying some hover and active styles. And there we go. Aside from variants, we also have the concept of sizes. So all of the variants can be in different sizes as well. The default one is always the medium. And by default, Chakra UI's buttons are a bit bigger than GitHub's buttons. So in this case, I'm changing the height. The H is a shorthand property for height. I'm setting the padding as well. So it's like 5 pixels vertically and 16 pixels horizontally. And I'm also changing the font size to 14 because I think in Chakra the default one is 16.
Wait, can I make sure I understood that? So the height is
okay.
pixels? And then you said, wait, so why doesn't it need the PX? Like what are the
value?
Yeah. So for the height, it didn't need a PX. What are the exceptions there for why the height didn't need the pixel saying PX there? Unless I'm like misunderstanding that part.
Yeah, in this case, 8 will get translated into 8 times 4, which is 32 pixels.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. But for the value 5, we don't really have the value 5 in our design system, in the default, Chakra UI design system. So I decided to roll with pixels in this case.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah,
which is about the times 4 thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how it works. So aside from the sizes, sorry?
What's the point? That is cool that you can use both.
Yeah, you can definitely use both.
I think so too.
Yeah. And there we go. For the sizes, we can define our own sizes as well. We can do extra small, extra large, or we can even name them as we wish in our native languages as well. And then we have the default props, which will be set. If we don't specify the size will be medium. right? Or if we don't specify the variant will always be link, because most of our buttons will be, I don't know, in our app might be links, so we'll set the default variant to link. So we cut down on time. Now, if I add the components object right here, it's going to flash out and everything is going to look pretty much just like GitHub. As you can see here. Maybe I should have added the components and then build the styling as well. But yeah.
No.
If we were let's just see how it changes. Here's the primary button.
Yeah.
And if I comment this out, the primary button is going to be basically unstyled because the primary variant doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we go to the repo actions and scroll at the bottom, we can see that the variant is set to primary.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I can even rename this to main, let's say, and go back and change the variant to main because that's how we called it, and it should look the same.
Gotcha. Honestly,
Yeah.
I appreciate the how the demo is kind of GitHub styled. Like, I like that.
Yes,
Thank you for that effort.
yeah. And yeah, how I basically did this is just opened inspect element on GitHub and watched and looked at all of the styling configurations that are for the buttons, for everything. And even dark modes works
Wow.
as well, yeah, because we defined the dark mode values into our semantic tokens. So we don't really need to care about their values when we are overriding the components.
Awesome. Do you mind
And
oh, go ahead. I was gonna ask if you mind if I check the chat if they have any
no, of course, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Let me see. I know I saw a couple questions. There's one from Luran. I hope I'm saying your name right. I don't think I've ever said it out loud. But it says, is the use of ampersand NBSP actually required, or is that just some of the leftovers? It seems a bit off to have it there if you're making use of a UI component system.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, there we go. I just put this to make it simpler. I didn't want to overwhelm everything. For some reason, if I remove the NBSP, the tags are here, like really close to the chakra span. Even though if I add enforce a space,
it still doesn't move it
yeah.
over.
So yeah, just for the sake of simplicity, I added the NBSP because I'm using the chakra.span in this case.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's not required or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me see what else. Somebody said, what's emotion? Did we talk about, is there like an emotion element or something that you imported, or?
No, the emotion is another framework that we use under the code.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Someone said Figma is incredible. I agree. Open source is love. Agree about that. Feels like Stitches plus MUI. Someone said, cool. I agree. I think that was the only other question. If anybody else has like more questions or comments, drop it in here. And if not, we can, if this part of the demo is over, we can switch over to the state machine stuff too.
Yeah.
This was awesome. Thank you, Lazar. Like, I really appreciate even you just like recreating that part of GitHub. That was a lot of effort for a demo. Thank you. Oh, lots of times said, can you go into the dark mode? How does it automatically work like that? Oh, you might have missed that part. Yeah. I guess they want to see that hook of how it switched back and forth from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen real quick and.
Oh,
can you? Yeah.
I keep forgetting that I actually have to add it.
So yeah, there we go. There's the use color mode hook that we can import from the ChakraUI/React package. That will give us the toggle color mode method, and we just hook it up with the on-click of any button in our app that we want to toggle the theme. And that's about it. That's how we can use the toggle color modes to actually jump in and out of the dark mode.
It is magic.
Magic.
All right. Thank you so much.